is important to say once again that the Vikings offense, their coaching staff, it really is one of the best places to be if you're a quarterback. Justin Jefferson, a big reason why. Adam, what are you hearing on how Minnesota feels about their offense with McCarthy expected to be the starting quarterback?
They're all in on him right now, Laura, and they have no other choice but to be. They believed in him when they drafted him in the first round last year in a draft that also included Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Michael Penix, and Bo Nix, quarterbacks that shined at various points during their rookie year. And they're expecting JJ McCarthy to join his fellow rookie quarterback classmates. He's got the right coaching in Kevin O'Connell and Josh McCown. He's got the wide receivers in Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. He's got the weapons. So he's got everything that he can need except the experience. That knee injury that he suffered last year prevented him from playing a single NFL snap. But they are counting on him. They believe in him, and they have no other choice but to be all in on him with big expectations for the upcoming season.
I mean, it is a risk, right? And Peter, how much confidence do you have in McCarthy leading this Minnesota offense?
I have a ton because of just what Adam's saying. Guys who know way more than me put all their eggs in their basket on this guy. But gosh, from afar, I don't know. A guy won 14 games last year in Sam Darnold, and you don't re-sign him. You don't even franchise tag him to at least see with 1 year, maybe, if JJ McCarthy's the guy. Daniel Jones was the third string. They didn't bring him back. And then Aaron Rodgers was on the free agent market. And I think he would have been very interested to get an offer from Minnesota if he could play the two against each other, Minnesota and Pittsburgh. I would think Minnesota might be a more appealing spot. But no, they're all in on JJ McCarthy. And I think it's fair to say, let's at least see him in the preseason. He lasted one half last year. I hate to say he lasted. He played one half and got hurt. So unfortunate. He's done everything right. They're over the moon with it, and they are so excited. But they're putting their names on this. Both Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell had many other options than J.J. McCarthy this immediate season. They let those options walk out the door.
I'm with Peter. I trust Kwesi. I trust O'Connell. I trust Josh McCown and their decision to come to this, because even if you look at the Vikings and with Kirk Cousins, obviously was playing lights out. He goes to Atlanta, doesn't look as great. Sam Darnold, before he got to Minnesota, didn't look nearly like the Sam Darnold we saw last year, where he was almost an MVP candidate. So the Vikings have to trust themselves in the system they put around their organization. Now, the hope with McCarthy is that you get a 1 + 1 = 3 situation, because I like McCarthy. And when you watch him in Michigan, the thing that stood out is he's great at getting through progressions, number one. And number two, when the pressure was on, when the moments mattered most, he got better, and that's a rare quality. And like Adam Schefter talked about, he has incredible weapons, a great system, and a great structure, and he's a kid who expects to be great.
Yeah. Let's talk about this. I think one of the most interesting things that we all get to watch and witness right now with JJ McCarthy and the Minnesota Vikings is we know how great of a team they were last year. And by all accounts, they should have improved just from the roster. Take the quarterback out. Improve, just from the roster construction itself. And you even have other great players like a Justin Jefferson who should be even more comfortable in the NFL now, right? Like he should really be solidifying himself in the prime. He's been in so many different situations in terms of how a game can unfold, being really high, feeling like you're unstoppable, feeling really low, having a loss ripped from you, a win ripped from you, all the different things. So like he's growing, evolving, and maturing. So even the players that we know are great already should really, in theory, be even better, right? Continuing to grow and evolve. And the coaching staff, all the important spots, mainly Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores, remain the same. And so it's like you have that continuity, and now the big piece that you're changing is JJ McCarthy. And I think we're going to be able to really witness a handful of things here, right? Like, we'll be able to see how far can a great roster, a great coaching staff take a quarterback who might not be good. I'm not saying he's not good. I'm just going through the examples now. If he's not a good quarterback, how successful can you be? Can you still win? Can we put to bed this idea that a great roster can just carry a quarterback? If you're a young quarterback who has a lot of talent to him, how quickly can you light the league on fire? When you're a great quarterback who's destined to be great, when you have a great coach and a great staff, a great coach and a great team, do you still show rookie mistakes And how frequently is it? Like, it just, we have such a clearly defined team with now a clearly defined quarterback that we really can see what's the story here. What's the story here? And I'm excited. I'm excited from just a football nerd who's looking for information, who's always looking to sharpen my own conclusions and change my own conclusions if the information evidence is there to do so. And I think, if JJ McCarthy hits the ground running and plays great, and through the course of his career continues to be great, we can kind of point to and be like, hey, this is how important a team is to the success of a young quarterback, blah, 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 blah. And if he struggles, we could say, hey, no matter how good of a quarterback you are, no matter how great of a roster you have, the first couple of years of football are tough. Like, it just, we get more information, and it just gets to be then another example, another piece of the puzzle. As much as everyone likes to think that we have football all completely figured out, the reality is we still don't. On one side, it's like very simple. It's like throw the ball, pass, run the ball, get to the quarterback, have good coaches. And it's like, yeah, like all that stuff is obviously true. But I think everyone is constantly trying to figure out really like, what do we need to win? What is this cutoff point for a quarterback? How much should we pay for a wide receiver? How important is a defensive line, an O-line? Like, it's always kind of changing year to year because it all depends on what the rest of the NFL looks like in any given moment. I mean, just in terms of how, the quality of talent, the health of the talent around around the league. And so I kind of had this aha moment watching this clip when I'm just kind of thinking about like how good the Vikings roster is and how good the coaching staff is. And it's kind of like, it'll be so fascinating because the only way that this team could really be bad is if JJ McCarthy is really bad. And if he's really bad, even though he's in an amazing situation, well, then it really sets fire to this whole idea of like, if you got a great coach and you got a great roster, it doesn't matter who your quarterback is. It's like, okay, well, that puts that to bed. And if he balls out and plays great, it could emphasize a little bit the idea of how great, how quickly a roster can help a young, great quarterback. It adds some fuel to that fire. Like, it's just fascinating to me. And I think to myself, if you look like a Brock Purdy and the maturity that he had and the levels of success that he had in those first couple of years, and it's like, great roster, great coaching staff. It's like, okay. Now, the average person, I would say, the average member of the media, the average, person who's locked into the NFL doesn't seemingly have Brock Purdy as like some top 5 quarterback. It would seem to me, based on what I read and watch and witness, is that on average, they have him as top 10, probably right around top 10 to top 15 list. I'm not trying to think of the people who are trying to really like, be a little bit more shocking, but I just think a little bit of the more grounded takes, it seems to me on average, he's right around 10, top 10-ish, 8, 9-ish, 10, whatever it may be, to top 15, somewhere within that range. And if that's true, then it would be a little bit above average with a high quality skill set. If you put him on a great team, clearly can get to a Super Bowl, clearly can leave the field with the lead in said Super Bowl. And so this is what I had said, a couple months ago or a month ago about JJ McCarthy, where it's like, if you think that he could just be average-ish / slightly above average, well, then it's like, what would stop this team then from having high levels of success? And so, that's what it then kind of gets boiled down to. I find those conversations a little bit more interesting rather than just kind of being like, oh, JJ McCarthy's gonna ball. Look what he did here. Look what he did there. Like, I find it a little bit more philosophically interesting to kind of navigate, the structure of this team and what it means. And when we've seen other teams in the NFL, most recently a team like the 49ers, bring in a young quarterback. And so the question is like, okay, can JJ McCarthy be as good as Jaden Daniels? Can JJ McCarthy be the next Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, whatever it may be? And you're just like, well, what if he's just Brock Purdy year 1? What does that mean? Is he capable of being a Brock Purdy year one, considering Brock Purdy, if memory serves me correctly, like was a lot old, he was like 24-ish or so, and JJ entered the league at 21, I think. So it's just like, probably, I assume a lot less snaps in college. It's like, what does that mean? And it's just like, Jane Daniels also had a lot of snaps in college. Bo Nix, some of these quarterbacks who've had success early on had a lot of snaps in college. JJ less so compared to some of these other guys. Caleb Williams struggled less so compared to some of these other guys. But if you put Caleb Williams on a great team, would it have mattered as much? Probably a lot less would be my guess. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, what if JJ McCarthy is just Kenny Pickett? Again, I'm not trying to trigger people, but he's just Kenny Pickett, but on an awesome team and an awesome roster with an awesome coach. Just, I find those types of questions in a weird way can kind of help you get to a clearer sense of the baseline, the floor of a team like this. I think it's too easy to slip into the extremes. Oh, he's a bust. He's not going to be that good. He's going to be a rookie. He's going to throw a lot of interceptions. He's going to be confused. Or no, he's going to have an awesome year. He's going to be great. This is one of the best situations a quarterback has ever been to. He's going to ball 15 wins and the number 1 seed. And it's just like, I try to just think of just random examples. With this roster, it's like you have Gardner Minshew. Where are you going with this team? Right? You have Aiden O'Connell. What are you doing with this team? We saw Sam Darnold. We saw Kirk Cousins. And although at this point the team has evolved and changed, and even Kevin O'Connell has evolved and grown, so I don't 100% like using past quarterbacks in that regard. But yeah, the Vikings are all in, and it makes sense why they are at this point. And it's really up to JJ McCarthy to not give them a reason to ever even consider pivoting. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about JJ McCarthy and the Minnesota Vikings? How do you feel about them going all in on him and what it means for their team's success? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.